Hey, honey.
Yes, Barry?
Let's get out of here.
Where are we going?
Where do we always go?
Este ritmo de palmas, sin naturaleza, hasta encontrar la playa. Por eso grito al mundo, yo soy de Puerto Vallarta. Samba de Puerto Vallarta, noche de arrullo en el mar. Samba de Puerto Vallarta.
Hello, fellow travelers, and welcome to this episode of the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show. I am your host, Barry Kessler, and I'm just so happy to be introducing you to my favorite vacation destination. Maybe it's even yours, and that's Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. That music you were just listening to is performed by Alberto Perez, and Alberto is the owner of the La Palapa group of restaurants. Those are La Palapa, the El Dorado restaurant, and at night for dinner, the El Dorado transforms into the Vista Grill. That's the Vista Grill that we've all known to love over the years, the Vista Grill on the hill. And now it has a new Vista, and it's right on the beach, where you can get the same Vista Grill menu, the fantastic Vista Grill service, and what's best is it's right there on the beach with a dramatic view of the Los Muertos Pier, all lit up at night with beautiful colors. And you can enjoy dinner under the stars with your toes in the sand right at the water's edge. It's so romantic. It's so Puerto Vallarta, mis amigos. Today we have a very special show, but first, what's happening in Puerto Vallarta this week, the 11th of July, 2017. For the last couple weeks, I've been reporting back to you about the saga of the arrival of Uber into the Bahia de Banderas. Uber, well, it's in Puerto Vallarta, my friends, and in Nuevo Vallarta, and the taxi unions are mad as can be. I've been watching and reading reports of taxi drivers, well, acting badly, and they're not taking this invasion of Uber sitting down, folks. They are actually, in some cases, getting violent, and so this week I want to give you travelers some tips about taking Uber or not taking Uber in Puerto Vallarta, and you're going to do well by taking my advice. So listen up. First of all, Uber drivers are not allowed to pick up at the airport or at the marina. So right off the bat, if any of you are thinking, hey, I'll just summon up an Uber ride at the airport, forget it. They're not allowed. Next, you got to be careful if you're being picked up by a friend or a relative at the airport. Now, for safety's sake, and to avoid being mistaken for an Uber user and your friend for an Uber driver, make sure that you greet your friend with a hug or a kiss, okay? And sit in the front seat, the front passenger seat of the car, okay? If you're actually taking an Uber, actually outside of the airport area, it doesn't hurt to actually hop in the front seat and say something to the guy like, thanks, amigo, and shake their hands. Now, that way you look like friends, and you're not a Uber fare, and he's not, or she's not, an Uber driver, okay? When you're waiting for your Uber driver, try to avoid staring at your mobile device when you're standing around on the sidewalk waiting. You know, taxi drivers can detect an Uber user from a mile away, folks, so be careful. Don't be staring at your phone. And don't wait for your Uber ride near a taxi stand or places where taxis wait to pick up rides, like in front of your hotel or in front of a restaurant or where taxis congregate and wait for fares, like near the Malecon. And then finally, if you have to be somewhere on time, like at the airport to catch your flight, take a cab, for goodness sake. You don't want to take the chance that you're going to be blocked in by a bunch of angry taxistas Well, they're waiting out your Uber ride until you basically have to abandon that ride and hop in their cab. Now, I actually saw a news report the other day, and there was a tourist, and he was heading out to the airport. He had his bags, and his Uber driver and he were being blocked by a bunch of taxi drivers. And for about 45 minutes, they waited him out, and then they finally coaxed out the ride by offering him a free ride to the airport. Wow. Now, even that Uber user couldn't turn down that free deal, okay? But you see what I'm talking about? You don't want to miss your airplane flight because you want to save a couple of bucks by taking an Uber to the airport, okay? So just don't do it. Now look, remember, cabs are cheap by U.S. and Canadian standards here in Puerto Vallarta. And a cab ride back to the airport from your condo or your hotel is actually less expensive than that federal taxi that's going out of the airport, that's taking you out of the airport. So take a cab back to the airport. Don't take an Uber, okay? Now look, I get it. I understand that there's a tendency to use up all your pesos in your pocket before you leave Mexico. I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of Uber users out there that are thinking, well, I really don't want to go to the ATM and exchange money for a taxi ride to the airport. It's just too much of a hassle. I'll just use Uber. There's no cash, no problem, right? But really, listen to me. Be on the safe side and use a yellow cab back to the cruise ship or to the airport. It's cheap. Don't cheap out and end your stay in paradise on a sour note, guys. Just saying. Now, I know some of you more seasoned Puerto Vallarta travelers are too cheap to pay for an airport taxi and choose to lug all your luggage and your bags out of the airport, through the lobby doors, you cross over the bridge to the other side of the carretera, you hail a cab from a spot underneath the bridge next to Tacón de Marlín. But how smart is that, really? I mean, there you are, you're actually penny pinching on vacation. You're in the tropical heat, you're lugging all your luggage up and over a bridge. Really? After a long flight? Oh well. To each his own. Now, the Taco de Marlin thing, that's for another show. But I just say, look, get used to the fact that you're going to be taking that federal airport taxi, I should say, to your hotel, to your condo, your resort, your place underneath the overpass. When you get to Puerto Vallarta, that's what's going to happen. I just do that. I have all the information about what to expect when you land at the Puerto Vallarta airport in episode 3 of the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show. So if you haven't heard that one yet, go ahead and listen to that. I also have a picture of the most current airport taxi rates in the show notes for this episode of the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show, so you can check that out too. Okay. Now, if you've ever been to Puerto Vallarta, or if you plan on going, you most probably have seen a painting, or you will see a painting, of a lady's face. You're going to find her on beach towels, on posters, and T-shirts and prints, and she's usually painted with her black hair piled up in a bun on her head, all adorned with flowers or a comb or whatever, and she has this unibrow thing. These dark arched eyebrows connected in the center. Now, those of you who have been to Vallarta, you've probably seen her. And you've maybe even wondered who she is. Well, she's Frida. And Frida Kahlo was one of Mexico's most beloved artists. And she was quite a woman with a very interesting life. She was born in Coyoacán, which is a suburb in Mexico City, in 1907, in the family homestead called Casa Azul, the Blue House. It was also where she died. And she died actually at a very young age, at age 47. But she still lives on today in Puerto Vallarta. Frida contracted polio when she was 6 years old, and the disease did a number on her right leg and foot, which caused her to limp. At the age of 18, She was riding on a bus with a friend when it collided with a trolley car, and she was impaled by a steel handrail, which went into her hip and out the other side, fracturing her pelvis and her spine. It was during the recuperation from that accident when Frida took up painting. At the age of 21, she sought out the famous Mexican muralist and fellow communist Diego Rivera, whom she ended up marrying a year later. He was a whole lot older than Frida. Now, she was a surrealist painter, and she liked to paint portraits of herself, actually. Over 55 of her famous paintings are self-portraits, and that's why you see so many portraits of her face. Now, she and Rivera were a force to be reckoned with, but Diego could not be true. They divorced, and they remarried again, too, actually. They both really had lots of affairs, fooled around a little bit. She even had an affair with the famous Russian communist in exile in Mexico City, Leon Trotsky, believe it or not. And Trotsky actually lived under her roof for 2 years with Diego and Trotsky's own wife, Natalia, and of course in Coyoacan, over in the Blue House in Mexico City. And yes, Frida and Diego, they were big communists, and they were big in the Communist Party, and that's why they were happy to have Trotsky and Natalia there. After some time, after a couple of years, there was a falling out between Diego and Trotsky, and Trotsky and his wife moved out of the Kahlo Rivera compound, and a year and a half later, one of Joseph Stalin's henchmen put an ice axe, right through Trotsky's skull. That'll teach that pointy-bearded dude to mess with Frida. Ha! Boom. Okay. Now, I could go on and on about Frida Kahlo, but there's not enough time for that today. I do have a couple of links and a great video about her, and you can check that out at my website at www.puertovallartatravelshow.com. So, why Frida in Puerto Vallarta? It's the art, man. It's the art. Anyway, now you know. When you see Frida, you know the whole story. All right, let's get to our guest. I saw this great post about this crazy suspension bridge in Puerto Vallarta that's like 5 football fields long. I saw pictures of it, and I just wanted to find out more about it. So JR checked it out for me and said, Barry, you need to talk to these people at Canopy River. They have this bridge, zip lines, hikes, and, well, this incredible Saturday and Sunday brunch that will blow their minds. So this place is in the rainforest, and it's on Ejido land. And we're going to talk a bit about ejidos in the conversation, but we're going to talk about ejidos in a podcast coming up soon. It's very interesting, and I'm sure that you're going to find it very interesting as well. There's a lot of ejido land in Puerto Vallarta and around Puerto Vallarta, and I really need to talk about that. But right now, today, let's go and have a talk with one really great guy, Edgar Lopez. Edgar is a Puerto Vallarta native and one of the leaders of the pack at Canopy River. So let's find out what goes on in the rainforest in paradise with Edgar Lopez of Canopy River. All right. Well, today I am with Edgar Lopez, and Edgar is from Canopy River in Puerto Vallarta. How you doing today, Edgar?
I'm doing great. How about yourself, Barry?
I'm doing really good. Thanks for coming on the show with me today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, you bet. Hey, listen, Canopy River, it's a place where people can be adventurous, right? You have all sorts of activities like zip lining and ATV tours and hiking and all that good stuff. But before we get into the interview about Canopy River, tell my listeners a little bit about yourself. You're from Puerto Vallarta, right?
I am from Puerto Vallarta, born and raised in Puerto Vallarta.
when did you first start working with Canopy River?
2006, November 2006.
Okay, so
Yes.
is that when they opened up, or?
Canopy River started at March 2006, and I started working in November 2006.
All right, so you're like right on the ground floor with Canopy River.
Yes, I have been for a while over there.
All right, well that's cool. So, where is exactly Canopy River in relation to Puerto Vallarta itself? I mean, how do your visitors get to your place?
Well, it's we're just 20 minutes away from downtown into the mountains,
Mm-hmm. Okay, so 20 minutes, and it is now. Do you have people? I mean, do you pick people up and take them there, or do they come to
Yes.
see you?
We have different pickup points. It depending. We have 4 different pickup points. It depending on the area they are, it's the pickup point we give them. We have in the romantic zone, which is Old Town. We have in the hotel zone.
Mm-hmm.
We have in Marina Vallarta and Nuevo Vallarta.
Okay,
Those
so
are
there's
those.
4 spots, and
Yeah, 4
you pick
different
them up,
spots.
and you pick them up in vans, buses. What do you do?
We have different. Yeah, we have vans and we have buses. We have trucks too. Very cool trucks,
Okay.
like wide open, so
Oh.
you can enjoy the view. You can enjoy the whole view on the way up to Canopy River.
Okay, so now Canopy River, you say it's 20 minutes out of town. Is it up the Rio Quale?
Yeah, up to Rio Quale. Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, so this particular place is on what they call ejido land, right?
Yes, it is.
All right, so can you explain to my listeners what an ejido is?
An ejido it's a community of different owners of big extensions of lands, and it's like a community, the farmers, mainly
Right.
farmers, yeah, and they own, as I told you, they own big extensions of lands, but most of these lands are like hills,
Mm-hmm.
hills, and these guys, it's in Canopy River, there's 35 owners,
Mhm.
35 farmers or partners, yeah, and they started with this, as I told you, 11 years ago,
Mhm.
and that's how ejido is. An ejido is.
So it's
a community
like
of farmers.
It's like a co-op, right? If I'm not mistaken.
It's a partnership.
Right.
It's
Okay.
a partnership. Yes.
Cooperative. Okay, great. All right, so so let's talk about what kinds of tours you offer at Canopy River.
Well, besides that, we do Zipline. We do another activity that involves Zipline, hanging bridges, rappel, tubing, mule ride on the same tour. And we also do the ATVs, and we do the hiking tour, muleback ride.
Uh-huh.
And, you can do also different combinations like Zipline and ATVs,
Okay.
or mules and ATV and Ziplines.
Okay, so you can do like combinations of the different kinds of tours. So
Yes.
you've got a mule ride. Now, what does the mule ride do? You hop on that, and where does that take you?
Well, we start at the locations where we are right now, and it's a tour that lasts 2.5 hours, and we take you to a beautiful waterfall through our beautiful sceneries, like
Mm-hmm.
into the forest. So while you ride out to the waterfall, you can enjoy the marvelous nature.
Yeah, you've got like
marvelous of nature.
some beautiful, beautiful rainforest right there. So
Yes, it is.
So it's a 2.5 hour round trip. Is that what it is? You go like
Round trip, yes.
hour and a quarter up to the waterfall and then
To
back.
the waterfall and back. Yes.
Okay. So the zip line. Tell me about that. What's involved in zip lining there?
Well, if you do the activity of zip lines, it involves only, just like its name says it's only zip line, but it includes 11 zip lines
Mm-hmm.
and a mule ride, because you go through different sizes of zip lines,
Mhm.
where you do the highest one and the longest ones. The highest one is 660 feet high.
Whoa.
The longest one is 700 yards. And the
Okay.
fastest one, you get up to 35 or 40 miles an hour.
Oh, wow. Okay, so, wow. Now, the one that is the highest one, that's the one that you're going to need that mule ride for, right? Is that what you're getting at?
And actually, it's on the bottom. It's down in the bottom because
Yeah.
we start like on the top of the hill.
Okay.
We get some height, and then we go down to go all the way down to the river,
Got it.
and to come back up to the locations. The easiest way or the best way to come back up is on mule.
Got it. Okay. So it's coming back up. It's not going down.
it's-
Okay.
yeah,
Get it.
Yeah, it's to go up because it's very steep. It's like 500 yards deep.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
So these are long zip lines too. So I was looking at your website, and I was checking out some of these zip lines, and you're right. These people are going fast.
Very fast.
Yeah. So how do you
Very fast.
how do you keep those tuned up in the tropics like that? I guess you need a lot of maintenance on those, right?
We do every day. Before we start with the first tour, there are two people in charge of checking out the zip lines and all the equipment we use, or even us, the guides, personally check the equipment. You know, because we try to keep it in top conditions every day. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a must, isn't it? So
Yes, it is.
Now, when most of the people that you that come to Zipline, have they had experience, or do you find that a lot of these people, this is their first time?
Most people are first timer.
Yeah, so that must
Most
be
people are-
that must be a challenge for you guys, right? Because there's a little bit of fear involved. Yes.
Yes, it is. There is a lot of fear involved in it. Sometimes people have done like once or twice, but anyways, they're still afraid. Sometimes people go, like, I'm here because of my children. I'm here because of my husband,
It's like, yeah, don't look at me. I don't want to do this.
Yeah, I'm here because I have to,
All right.
Not
well,
because I want to.
yeah, that's pretty funny. All right, so
It is.
So, but it sounds to me like a little bit of your job is coaxing people, right, and telling them, "Hey, it's okay, go for it," right?
It's a good job because besides we meet a lot of people from all over the world. It's like interesting to dare the people or to encourage the people
Yeah.
to conquer their fears. That's part of the best reward.
Yeah,
You know?
because then they're thanking you afterwards, right? It's just like
Yeah.
everybody else, everybody's they're afraid to do this the first time, and they do it. It's like, wow, I can do that. That's really cool.
Most of the people who are afraid in the beginning are the people who enjoy it the most.
Right.
Believe me,
Well, because they've overcome their
Yes.
fears,
they overcome their fears. Yes,
and you helped them do that. So that's cool.
that's our job.
Yeah.
And I love to do it.
All right. So, how many people would you say go out ziplining in a group at one time?
60 people.
Oh, okay.
60 people. Yeah, but they all go once at a time.
Okay.
They
So,
all go once at a time.
one
We
at
have
a
capacity
time. You're
for
not
60 people in a group, but they all go one at
one at a time.
one at a time. One at
Okay.
a time. Yeah.
Okay. So, all right. And would you say then how many chances would you get like to zipline when you're on one of these tours? Or do you do each one of these lines like once? Is that what the challenge is?
Yes.
Okay.
Only once. Yeah, and they're 11
Wow. Okay.
on
well,
the
that's a lot.
zipline tour. On the zipline tour.
Okay. All right. Well, that's the way that you keep that thing rolling, right? Because you've got 60 people, so you got 11, and okay, that makes sense then. Okay, you get a good flow that way.
Yeah, because we got it depending on how many people we are having a tour is the number of the guides that we go. With
Sure.
them.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah, because it will be very boring for them to be waiting for 60 people at a time.
Yeah. No, I was thinking that for a minute. So
Yeah.
11 lines, that makes sense. It's a
Yeah,
good flow.
everything is planned.
You're right. Okay. Cool. All right. So now we have. All right. We talked about the mule ride. We talked about the zip lining. What was the other? What were the other items? ATV tour.
ATV tour, yes.
Now,
ATV.
I saw something. I want you to tell me about this. You have this new suspension bridge.
Uh-huh.
This is like this big, long suspension bridge. I saw a picture of it. It's blown my mind. Tell me about this.
Okay. This is very interesting because the project started almost 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
and they didn't have any idea about what they were about to build, because this bridge, we searched on the internet to find one like that one, and we didn't find any for vehicles, not like this long. So we already requested to the Guinness record to come and measure it to get into it.
Yeah.
Because we didn't find any bridge like this.
Wow.
Like this long. It's 470 meters, which is like, oh God, it's like 500 yards long.
Whoa.
Yeah, 400, like approximately
5 football fields long.
Yes, 5 football fields together. And
now this is one continuous suspension bridge, Edgar?
Yes.
One length, one span?
Yes, for vehicles.
Wow.
Vehicles.
For vehicles.
So for vehicles, yes. So that's why we send the request to Guinness Records, because we didn't find any like that long.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
We found hanging bridges or suspension bridges, but for walking.
Right, but this is a totally different thing. Now what vehicles do you take your ATVs down this? Right.
ATVs, racers, and like pickups.
Oh, really? You can get a pickup truck?
Pickups can go through, yes. Pickups can go through, yes.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So this is part of your ATV tour.
It is part of it.
And
we have 2 options.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, we have options. I mean, we have the option to do the ATV tour. Like, we have an ATV tour that you don't go through the bridge. You don't go across the bridge. But we take you to a beautiful waterfall, the same waterfall that we take you on the mule ride, we take you, but on ATV too. And it's a private route. Nobody else goes in but us. Mm-hmm. So that means there's no vehicles in there. There's nobody else but us over there in that beautiful waterfall. If you have a chance, we can send you the pictures of this beautiful waterfall.
Well, I'll have them. I'll post them on the blog post for the show notes for this episode, so you guys can take a look at that. We'll definitely have that.
We'll send them to you.
And pictures of that suspension bridge too. You can get that to me too. That would be great.
Yes. So as I told you, the suspension bridge is 470 meters, which is 500 yards long, and it's 150 meters high, which is 180 yards high.
So this is like hanging over like a valley or a ravine or the river gulch,
it's hanging from hill to hill, from mountain to mountain, and it's above the river.
Above the river, wow.
Above the river, yes. So while you go across the river, you can see the whole Sierra Madre.
So how long did it take to complete that bridge? That was started when?
Excuse
2
me.
years. 2 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, the project started 2 years ago, and it took a year and a half to complete it.
Wow. Okay.
A year and a half. Yeah, but as I told you, the people who built it, I mean, the people who decided it were architects and engineers, but the people who built it were the same owners of the company. They were working on it. And when they started with the project, as I told you, they didn't have any idea what they were about to build. Mm-hmm. They didn't know that it was going to be contending and competing to be the longest hanging bridge in the world.
Wow.
They didn't have that idea. That's the most interesting of this thing, Yeah. Because they didn't have the idea. They just built it, and when they finished it, then they realized what they did.
Right. They said, "Whoa! Look what we made! Look what we made!"
Yes, they made it.
Long. All right.
I mean, we made it. We made it because, I mean, I was part of the building too.
Yeah. Fantastic. Yeah. Well, that must be a real thrill to see something like that come to fruition. From start to finish. That must be really great. Yes. So, now, can you walk across that? Have you worked out a fee to maybe walk across it rather than ride across it? Yeah, you can walk across. You can walk across. Okay. Yeah, and it does have a fee, of course. Okay. It is private because it wasn't very cheap to build it. Oh, yeah, no kidding. All right. So, So, we'll have all that information then also on the blog post as far as, how much it costs to do all these different things, the zip lining part and the mule riding part and the ATV part. And what other things do you guys do over there?
Well, as I told you, we also do the hiking tour, which is very, to me, is like very educative, because there are most people who come here do the hiking tour. They like to learn.
Yeah.
And we explain, our guides explain everything they need to know or they want to know, like where we are located geographically, flora and fauna of all the region. And while you go walking through a beautiful forest.
Right. So these are naturalists. They help you to understand what you're looking at, and yeah, that's great.
Yes, and besides that, you go across the bridge twice, on the way up and on the way down.
Okay.
On the same tour.
On the same tour. Okay, cool.
Yes.
So look at this. You can say that you walked on the world's longest suspension bridge
Yes.
that you can ride a vehicle on. We always have to say that part at the end, right? Okay. All right. Let's see here.
Yes, we have more activities. Like as I told you, we have the river expedition, which is an activity that involves 7 zip lines, 2 different kinds of rappel, like free fall and walking on a wall. You get into the water. There's a zip line that you get into the water. There is hanging bridges, wooded hanging bridges, 3 hanging bridges. There is a Tarzan swing. We call it Tarzan swing because you go hanging from a rope from one side of the river to another, hanging on a rope.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and after that you do tubing on the river, to get to ride the mules.
Okay, so this sounds like a little bit of Gladiator here, right? You've got all these little sections. You got to do this to this to this. This is real. This is a lot of activity. This is pretty cool.
It's very entertaining and it is very daring.
Yeah.
Like challenging.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. All right, so now you told me that one of the best parts of your job is to encourage people and to help them achieve, what they do when they finally do the zip line or whatever their fear is, right? So
yes.
You probably hear a lot of comments during the day, right? And maybe even some compliments and stuff like that. What is it that you hear people say the most that you might overhear them say about what you guys do there, what they like?
Okay, what our people tell the most is, what they love the most is the treatment that they receive from the guides, That's what they like. Besides the tour itself, of course, because they enjoy the views, they enjoy the speed, they enjoy the rush of the adrenaline, but they love the service.
Well, yeah.
They love the service.
So you guys must pride yourself on that customer service aspect.
Yes, we are.
Yes.
We are trained in customer service. We are trained also in the technicals that we use here because we use they're named high angle techniques, and we are well trained in that too. Mm-hmm. So besides that, we are also trained for customer service. So that's what the people tell the most, that they love the service that we give them.
That's what you hear. That's what people say.
Yes, that's what the people say, yes.
Neat. All right. Now, I was talking with JR. JR says that he was there, and you guys have a restaurant over there. And you have was it like a Sunday brunch? What do you guys do over there?
Saturday and Sunday.
Okay.
Saturday and Sunday we have it's a buffet. But it's a typical buffet that you find in this region, It's delicious.
Okay, tell me about it, man.
Yes, I will. Have you tried cow's belly? Cow's belly soup?
Yeah.
We call it menudo.
Menudo.
I bet it's very popular where you are from right now.
Oh yeah, well I'm in LA, man.
It is very popular. Yeah, it's
Absolutely.
very popular. It's cow's belly soup. It's delicious. Handmade tortillas, the desserts, fruits, the typical coffee that you find in this region, and atole. I don't know if you tried atole.
Remind me, what is atole?
Atole is made with the corn. They smash it, and they do it like thick, very thick, so you can drink it.
Oh yeah. Sure.
Yeah, it's very good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it doesn't have any sugar, but you can use brown sugar to sweeten it.
Well, it's sweet too, naturally sweet.
Yes, and different stuffs, different like ribs, pork ribs, pork leather, beef, many different stuff.
So
It's-
also, I'm guessing probably Mexican favorites, maybe enchiladas, stuff like that, or
That's
no?
not included in the buffet.
Okay.
But there's some other things that are very typical here in this part of Mexico.
Well,
you
tell
know,
me,
in this part
tell
of
me.
in
Yeah.
Puerto Vallarta. Yeah. Well, just the handmade tortillas to me, it is worth it. You know,
Absolutely.
the handmade tortillas because they're made of corn, and that's definitely. And we also prepare a beverage in a place named pajaretas. The pajaretas are made with fresh milk, the real fresh milk. You add in a cup,
Uh-huh.
you add chocolate, alcohol, and you milk the cow.
Okay.
You milk the cow, and you get the milk from the cow. That's what I'm telling you.
It's
Fresh milk.
Fresh milk.
Yeah, fresh milk. Yes.
Wow.
So that's the pajareta,
So you
and
you
then
guys,
people love that.
you guys, I mean, that is, you're not going to find that anywhere except for there, I'm sure, right?
No, actually, we are the only ones who prepare that. I mean, many people know what it is, but we are the only ones who prepare for people. You know.
Right. So
We're
now,
the only ones.
now that particular brunch, do people come driving up there, or do you go pick them up for that, or how does that work?
Either ways, and most people do reservations. You know, most people call to the office and do the reservation,
Okay.
and they can ask to be picked up in one of our pickup points, or they can get up by themselves. But
Right.
if you decide to be picked up in one of our spots, it has an extra charge.
Okay. Yeah. So
It has an extra
you
charge.
charge for that. Okay. No
Yes.
worries. That's all good.
Yeah.
Can you tell us what the cost is for that?
Yes, 180 pesos.
Oh, 180 pesos. That's a deal, man.
It's
It's like $10. It's
And
like
it-
$10 US. That's a
Yeah.
great deal, you guys.
Yeah, it is like $10, and that's it. Yeah,
Wow.
and you can eat all you want.
So it's all
Fruit,
you can eat, and
dessert.
it's just a great, genuine
Pancakes.
Mexican
Pancakes.
buffet.
You can find also pancakes. You know, people love pancakes.
Yeah, everybody loves pancakes. You kidding me?
Everyone loves
Yeah.
pancakes. Yeah,
Gotta
children love pancakes. Yeah,
Breakfast, dude. It's breakfast.
Yeah.
Everybody wants
yes,
that.
it is. Yeah,
All
chilaquiles too. You know chilaquiles?
Oh, yeah, my God. They're
Yeah,
my
you can find
favorite.
chile.
Sure. All right,
Yeah,
well, I'm on
there
my
you go.
way. I mean, Zipline, yeah, but let's have some breakfast and brunch there, too.
But definitely, if you come, Barry, you need to do the zipline first and then eat.
Okay.
Because believe me, yeah, it's kind of tiring to
Uh-huh.
do the zipline. Yeah.
Okay, well, all right.
And you
well,
don't want to do it after eating.
I'll make sure that I do. All right, so we talked about Zipline. We talked about your hiking. We talked about your mule rides. We talked about the
River expedition.
river expedition. Anything
Uh-huh.
else that we're missing on that?
We are missing, well, the combinations.
Oh, yeah, so you do combinations of those items.
Yeah, you do. The most popular combination is zipline and ATVs. You
Okay.
know, it's a whole. I mean, it takes all day long to do it, but it is worth it. It is worth it, because it takes 2 hours to do each activity, plus the way of transportation. So it takes like 7 hours approximately.
Okay, so you do a combination of probably any of those tours, and it's kind of a full day event, right? Okay, all right.
Yeah, it takes the full day to
So
do that.
be ready for that.
But it is worth it.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's totally worth it. I'm looking at all the fun that people are having. I was looking at the reviews on TripAdvisor, and people are loving it. They just go, oh, and you're right. They love the people. They love you. They love you guys. At least that's what they're saying.
Well, let me tell you why. Because we are Puerto Vallarta is considered like the friendliest city in the world. So
Yeah,
we gotta make it real.
you have to deliver, right?
Yes.
That's all right.
Yeah,
Good
we
for,
have to deliver.
good for you,
Yeah,
Edgar.
that's the word. Thank you. Yeah, good for you, Barry, for telling me.
That's true. That's true. All right. All right. So you can go ahead then and pop into that restaurant. Even if you're not on a tour, you should call ahead though and make reservations. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That,
cool.
Yes.
All right. Now
That's the best way. Otherwise, because it fools
Yeah,
the
it's
restaurant.
it's
Oh my
filled
God,
up fast,
it
huh?
goes crazy. Yeah.
Well, it sounds
Yeah.
like a great deal.
Can I tell you something about a couple of weeks ago? We had 972 people in the restaurant.
Oh my God, really? Wow.
972 people, yes, because we have capacity for 1,000.
Wow.
We have capacity for 1,000 people and 972 people. A couple of weeks ago.
Well, congratulations for that, man. A couple weeks ago, and so it's not even in it's not even high season.
It's not, but it's more like for local people.
Okay, so you get a big local crowd there. That's what it sounds like to me.
Yes.
Okay.
But anybody can come and visit us.
Of course.
Everybody can come and visit us.
All right. You all heard that, so you're all invited. Just bring your pesos, make some reservations so that you're not disappointed when you arrive and they say, "Sorry, we don't have any room for you. Go home." You don't want that. You don't want to have that happen. So, all right. So now we've talked about the breakfast and we've talked about the tours, and now that and we're going to talk a little bit about how people can get a hold of you and all that other good stuff. But before we do that, Edgar, I'm going to use your brain. I'm going to pick your brain like I do all of my guests, and you're special because you were born in Puerto Vallarta, so you're someone that we need to be talking to here. Besides coming to Canopy River to have that special breakfast on Saturday and Sunday, if you're going to go out to breakfast somewhere in PV, where do you like? Where do you like to go?
Oh, well, people love to come here and go to La Casa de los Hotcakes, the Pancakes House.
Pancake House, yes.
Pancake House. Have you heard about it?
Oh, sure, yeah. How about you?
Yeah,
I mean, you've eaten there, yeah?
Pancake House.
Okay.
It's number one.
Okay.
Number two might be Café de Olla.
Ah.
It's nearby.
Yep.
Nearby. And Los Alcatraces.
Okay, now where is Los Alcatraces? I'm sure I've seen it a bunch of times.
Los Alcatraces is there is a zone by the hotel zone named, the hotel Sheraton.
Right.
It's right across the avenue. It's nearby downtown, 5 minutes away from downtown.
All right, very good.
Right in front of Hotel Sheraton.
Right in front of the Sheraton Hotel. All right, so those are your favorite breakfast. All right, so tell me about lunch. How about your favorite lunch spots?
Lunch. I like seafood.
Okay, good,
like
because
seafood
you're in Puerto Vallarta, man. You better like seafood.
I'm in the Bay, so it makes sense.
Yeah,
it makes sense. I like seafood and I like beef too, but there's a place, very very famous place here in Puerto Vallarta named the Happy Lobster.
The Happy Lobster.
Yes, Happy Lobster. Yeah, if you come to Puerto Vallarta and you want to taste very very good seafood, you gotta go to Happy Lobster.
Okay, all right.
The Happy Lobster.
Very good. Now, where is that?
Is a nearby sport unit, nearby Los Alcatraces, by the way.
Okay, so it's over near the Sheraton. Okay, cool. All right.
Yeah, yes. There's a sport unit nearby, and they're around there.
Yeah, so that's the place like right near the athletic field, right? And they have all those. They have a bunch of eateries, like taco places too.
Yeah. Oh, you can find taco stands all over Puerto Vallarta.
Oh yeah,
the best ones.
Yes, I love tacos. I love tacos.
Yeah. There's a place named Pancho's Tacos. Those are the best ones in town, in downtown.
Absolutely.
Pancho's Tacos.
Absolutely, I love that place. Good. All right. Cool.
Pancho's Tacos.
Any other place for lunch?
Celia. It's the typical Mexican food.
Celia.
Typical Mexican food. Celia. The typical Mexican food.
Very good.
And you can find enchiladas. You can find pozole. You can find all those things.
Oh, okay. I know exactly where you're talking about. I know exactly where that is.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I've eaten there too. I love that place. Celia. Yes. Okay. Yeah. And they do make the greatest pozole. The greatest pozole.
Oh, yes. You got to come there.
Yeah.
If you come to Puerto Vallarta and you want to try the typical Mexican food, you got to come to Celia.
Celia. Right. Absolutely. Okay. I'm going to remember. It's a Senadoria, right? Senadoria Celia, right?
Senadoria, yes.
Bueno. All right. And, all right. So let's talk about dinner. What are your favorite dinner spots?
Dinner. There is a place named Fajita Republic.
Yeah, you like Fajita Republic.
Fajita Republic. Yes, I do. I like La Dolce Vita.
Uh-huh. Nice.
La Dolce Vita.
That's Italian, obviously.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And La Terrazza di Roma, another Italian place, which is very good too.
La Terrazza di Roma.
Di Roma. Uh-huh.
Okay. All right. Those are great tips.
Those three places. Yeah, those three places are great.
Fantastic. All right. Good. Now, one other thing.
Very romantic if you want to, you know.
Oh, really? What, all of those? All of those? Edgar?
Yes, all
really?
of those three. Yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
Edgar,
that's
man.
where I conquered. Yeah, that's where I conquered my wife.
I was going to say, there you go. That's what happened. I was going to say, Edgar, it sounds
That's what
like you found the
Yeah.
places to,
Yeah, that's where I captured my wife.
to make them say yes, right?
yes.
That's right. Excellent. Excelente.
You
All right.
got the answer. Yes.
I know it. Okay. How about something that would be like a surprise, maybe like a total like hole in the wall, someplace that you wouldn't expect would be really good, but anything like that you can think of? You know what I mean by a hole in the wall?
What?
A hole in the wall would be like, in the States we call it a dive. It would be like there's no romance, right? It's not romantic at all. It's just like you'd walk in, but the food would just blow your mind. Anything like that?
There is a place on the beach. There's two places right on the beach.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, these two places are great. One of them is named Burros and Canto del Mar.
I've heard of Burroughs Bar. Now Burroughs Bar is right on the beach.
Yes, it is a great place to have fun. It's just like you say, like a hole in the wall.
Yeah.
Like you just walk in and you know what? Let's get in here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's exactly right.
That's a very nice place. Yes, and La Langosta Loca, the crazy lobster too.
Crazy lobster, Langosta Loca. Okay.
Langosta Loca. Yeah.
Very cool.
You gotta come to those three places. Yes.
I will. You know what? I'm going to for sure. All right. Now, let me ask you a couple other questions because you are a local. You were born there, and all that good stuff. I'm making a top 10 list of things to do in Puerto Vallarta and putting it all together. I'll do it in one of my episodes coming up pretty soon. But besides the Canopy River tours, what would you say are 3 things that you shouldn't miss when you come to Puerto Vallarta?
If you come to Puerto Vallarta, you can't miss to visit Los Arcos. Los Arcos is a natural aquarium in the south of the bay.
Yes.
So, yeah, you can...
So Los Arcos, you can either go diving or snorkel there, yeah?
Yes. Actually, yeah, you can dive and snorkeling there. Because it is a protected area. Nobody can fish. But you can get in there.
Mm-hmm.
But you need to take a taxi. I mean, like a water taxi, you know?
Sure.
To get there. Or you can rent a boat. Or even some of the tours of the cruise go by. Mm-hmm. And you can... snorkel there.
Yeah, I remember one of my first times in Puerto Vallarta. I think the Bora Bora or something like that. They stopped and everybody got out and snorkeled around the Los Arcos. And
yes. So you can miss that. Number 2, and I think the most important, El Malecón, the border wall. You cannot miss the Malecón.
No, you can't
if
miss
you come
that.
To Puerto Vallarta, no, you can't skip that part. Definitely, you gotta go there.
Right.
You gotta go there. Yeah, and to visit. Marina Vallarta too. Marina Vallarta because it's it's the place where you can find like fish clubs and even famous people you can find there.
Really, yeah. And they've got some great restaurants. It's beautiful.
In Marina Vallarta,
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
They have great places in Marina Vallarta,
and it's easy to get to. Either a cab or a bus, you guys. It's not
15
hard.
minutes away from downtown. 20 minutes away from downtown. So it's not that far.
Well, I'm going to add that. I never thought about the Marina Vallarta, but you're totally right. I'm going to totally add that on.
Or 5 minutes away from airport. So
yeah, very cool. Yeah. All right. Now, here's another question that I always ask all of my listeners, and not my listeners, I always ask all of my guests. And that question is, if you were going to be talking to a first-time person coming to Puerto Vallarta, what one piece of advice would you give them, besides, of course, going to see Canopy River Tour?
An advice will be to feel trust, to feel confidence, because Puerto Vallarta is very safe.
Good.
Very, very safe. Yes.
So don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid. Puerto Vallarta is very, very safe. As we are the friendliest city in the world, and maybe not the safest, but it's very, very safe. So the advice that I will give a person is that to be confident, to trust in people, trust people, ask people what I have to do, where I have to go, or something like that. Because we like to be honest, we like to be friendly, So don't be afraid. That's all I have to say. Maybe to leave Puerto Vallarta.
I agree with you so much. Well, that's why I love Puerto Vallarta so much, is because the people are so friendly. And as I always say, you wouldn't come back.
Yes, we are.
You wouldn't come back if people didn't like you, and if people weren't friendly toward you. So, and that's why I think people always come back. And that's why you're busy in the off season right now too, Edgar. You guys are crazy right here in the middle of June. You guys are working like crazy. I know that you have a special deal with JR, and if our listeners make reservations for a tour over at Canopy River, you can actually go to his website at www.vallartainfo.com, or you can find that actually in my show notes if you want to. But you can actually reserve a tour right through JR for the river, for the Canopy River. But now, how could people find out more about Canopy River? You have a website, of course, yes?
Yes, we do. We have our website is www.canopyriver.com, and you can find the whole information, all the information that I just gave you, and more. Schedules, pickup points, the activities, new projects, and besides, you can find everything in the website. All the information that I just gave you, plus more.
Very good, excellent. All right, well, listen. Is there anything that I've forgotten? I know that we've covered a lot of stuff, but I think we covered everything.
Yes, I think you have, forgetting to tell me when you're coming. When you're coming to visit us.
Well, I'm going to come visit you soon. I'll be seeing you in a couple of months.
All right.
But until then, I just want to thank you. I want to thank you so much, and you've just been very helpful. And I'm sure my listeners are going to enjoy listening to this show, and maybe they will come and get out of their all-inclusive resorts and come out of their hotels and get off the beach and come and see you guys.
Yes, because many people who come here, I've heard that they don't come out of their hotels. Come on.
Yeah, I know.
So, Puerto Vallarta, yes, go ahead.
It'll be the highlight. It'll be the highlight of your stay when you come and see Edgar and his crew over there at Canopy River. So
and
Edgar,
we will waiting for them.
Yeah. Well, listen, Edgar, thank you again for joining me on this episode. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Barry.
Wow, Edgar had a lot of great information for us this week. Now, check out all the cool things that you can do at Canopy River Zipline Adventure Tours, and you'll find links to it on my show notes for this episode, number 27 of the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show. I also have a link to JR's website where you can book that tour, and JR will get the credit for your purchase of the tickets. And the cost is no more than if you were going to buy it directly from Canopy River. So please use that link and book through JR. And if someone actually has a price that's lower, JR can usually beat that price. So make sure that you contact him and see whether or not you can get that. That should do it, by the way, for this week's episode of the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show. Next week, stay tuned for more on-the-ground reports from Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, travel tips, and great restaurant and excursion ideas, too. So we're going to have all sorts of great shows, like I said earlier, planned for this summer. And until then, Remember, this is an interactive show where I depend on your questions and suggestions about all things Puerto Vallarta. If you think of something I should be talking about, please reach out to me by clicking on the Contact Us tab and sending off your message. And remember, if you're considering booking any type of tour while you're in Puerto Vallarta, including the Canopy River tours, you must go to vallartainformation.com, that's JR's website, and reserve your tour through him right from his website. Remember, this is a value-for-value proposition, my friends. His experience and his on-the-ground knowledge of everything Puerto Vallarta in exchange for your making a purchase of a tour that you would do anyway. You're just doing it through him as a way of saying thank you. Thanks, JR, for being our guide. It costs no more than if you were going to use someone else, so just do it, really. And when you do take one of those tours, email me about your experiences, and maybe you can come on board and share with others what you liked or didn't like about the tour. Again, contact me by clicking on the Contact Us tab and sending off a message. And once again, if you like this podcast, please take some time and subscribe. Give me a good review on iTunes if you would. And that way, we can get the word out to more and more people about the magic of this place, Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. And now remember, I made it easy for you to do just that. So, with each episode I create, I put a little link in there so you can do it. But if you haven't been to my website, I want you to know that I also have links to all the places that we talk about, interesting pictures and, well, all of that stuff, more stuff about the blog posts and show notes for each episode of the show. So go and check it out for sure if you haven't already been there, all right? All right. Well, thank you again to Edgar Lopez of Canopy River Zipline Adventure Tours in Puerto Vallarta. Like I said, I have all the contact information in the show notes of this episode 27. Check out their photos at www.puertovallartatravelshow.com, episode number 27. Check out that picture of JR on the bridge. It's pretty cool. And thanks to all of you for listening all the way through this episode of the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show. This is Barry Kessler signing off with a wish for all of you to slow down, be calm, and live the Vallarta lifestyle. Nos vemos, amigos.
De Puerto Vallarta, noche de arrullo en el mar, samba de Puerto Vallarta, noche de amor junto al mar. Solo camino eterno por la playa, me encuentro junto al río cuando todo está en calma. Pronto cae la noche, me brillas Puerto Vallarta, samba de Puerto Vallarta, noche de arrullo en el mar, samba de Puerto Vallarta, noche de amor junto al mar, samba de Puerto Vallarta.